A fellow by the name of Bruce Morrison, who is a local firefighter and volunteer, kind of took us under his wing and started showing us stuff and actually let us start hanging around a little bit. I think Dave actually did some dispatching.
Yeah.
I think you were doing some dispatching, and actually I did a little bit of dispatching as well, and then Bruce, he's kind of come up with the idea. I don't know where he came from. He said, I'm going to start a junior fire department, and asked us if we were interested, and of course we all were.
It was that summer, 1973, and there was Danny McNaughton and myself and maybe Dave Wagner, I believe. We were just hanging around the fire hall because Bruce and Dougie Wilson and a few of them in the daytime would be down there hanging around. And in those years we had the Fireman's Fair, so all of a sudden Fireman's Fair was going to start, so next thing we were helping out getting things ready and everything. And so that summer passed and we were still on our bicycles hanging around a bit. And then Bruce got the idea of starting the junior fire department, and between Charlie and yourself and Graham Wilson and Dougie, I might leave somebody.
A lot of people involved.
Yeah, but they were the main ones, and that's who trained us a lot, were those people. But, and that's when we started. And I remember him saying that if you can get 10 of you total to, we'll get it going.
Yes.
Well, we thought, well, that should be no problem, but it was. And,
yes, it was.
And all we could find, we found 9 of us, and then Bruce said, well, that's fine, 9's okay, we can go with that. And then it was probably the next year or so when we got the 10th would have been Harley Wise, because he was just a little too young then. So, and for me, it worked out perfect because I turned 14 that October, and that's when we started the juniors, was that October. So that's how I ended up.
We went down to Port Hawkesbury to look at the juniors and see what it was all about and how it started, and how the best to organize it and that kind of stuff. And I guess that was one of the other things that I learned about the department is everything we kind of did, we did a lot of research on before we tried it, and that was my first memory.
The concept was we wanted to train the kids today for tomorrow, so when us old guys retire, we have somebody that has a interest. Hopefully they would have stayed in the community, and they're already trained. And they were a great asset. We used them in places we probably shouldn't have, but we needed them, and they were great, and they're a great bunch of kids.
But I still, I remember very clearly, like our first or second meeting. I mean, it started off, with the chemistry of fire and the basic, it was a lot of
Wilson, the first night.
classroom stuff, where we learned, why fires, what they needed, and I still remember plain as day, what fire needs to burn.
Yeah, exactly. I told Graham here the other day, I remember the first time we sat down and he took a lighter at the front of the room and he said, you know why that's burning? Mm-hmm. And that was sort of...
We hear about the light of smoke.
But the training that we took, it was full training, the same as what the seniors took. Yep. It was training, like starting with the engines and the pumps and where all the gear was, right up through to running lines, how to run relays, how to go in buildings, how to put the air packs on and go in buildings. And having the training school up here was perfect for that.
And we were pretty much the only ones using it even then.
And as far as, the gear that you guys were wearing yourselves, what was that normally?
The gear?
Yeah, because I know you had the pumpers and the hoses and everything, but like your personal protective gear, what was that made of?
Well, it was full turnout gear at the time. It was the older style with the big helmets with the flap and the back and that sort of stuff.
There's a photo over there.
All kinds of photos there.
See, we got the hand-me-downs, right? So they'd get newer gear, and we'd get some, or if a volunteer left and there was no replacement, they'd hand the gear over to the juniors. Yeah. So sometimes it didn't always fit the best, like I said, but it was relatively, it was fire gear of the day.
That's one of the things that kept you involved in it. It wasn't just going down there and pretending to be. I mean, you actually trained and you did it. You went to the fire school. You did some training up there. You pulled lines. It was good stuff.
Yeah, but the only thing we didn't do was drive.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's just about the only training. That's right. Just about the only training juniors didn't take.
And when you turned 18, you're fully trained.
Well, that was the beauty of it.
Came right in.
I mean, we were very responsible just because.
You had the role models.
From the top, exactly. Yeah, you came right from the top. So
there was no nonsense. We could tell that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were a little more serious.
Right.
And some of the cast of characters at Waverley, you would never have thought
Oh, yeah.
that this would have made
And
a
it was
fire
funny 'cause we
department.
had lots of fun, but it was time to be serious. You were serious.
yeah.
You know? And we've been friends for, these are lifelong friendships. Right?
Yeah,
We've been friends for, I went probably 25 years without seeing these guys, but for a visit or two, but we talk, it's like we talked yesterday. It's,
The truth. Yep.
yeah, so it was,
I really think it's a bond that
yeah.
we'll always have.
Fire department, in the junior fire department or at a fire, was yours also the fair? Your favorite?
A
memory?
lot of it was, some of it was at the fair, because, some of us had to stay not all night and stuff like that, and that's kind of fun. 3 o'clock in the morning, the police come down and whip up hamburgers for them and stuff like that. That was always fun. And, some of my best memories, I guess, in the juniors, well, when I was dispatching, I think, just responding to some of the fires and some of the things that were going on that you heard about. I think that was kind of but I think we just had fun and we learned a lot and we like to participate.
Fireman's Fear. Yeah, absolutely. That was just from the beginning to the end of it. Getting ready, prepared, I can still see Bill Lockhart down there with all the toys and stuff like that. You're getting everything ready, the bingo hall getting set up, all the booths set up.
Putting those old booths together.
Bubby in there and everything else, right? All the toys and such. So then you get ready for that, and then the parade, and just the atmosphere of Waverley coming together.
Yeah, that's
Waverley
so
was, everybody was there. So
And the
there you are,
Fireman's Fair was
strutting
Fair was
around
a
your
big
fire
deal.
department.
For this little
Fireman's-
village.
Really?
For this little village, the Fireman's Fair was a big deal.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah.
'Cause that was before Gold Rush.
Yeah, yeah.
People would come out that you'd only see once a year, and that was at the Fireman's Fair. So, oh, yeah. Mr. Seaboard used to come down. That's the only time you ever see him.
Jeff were at school over here at one day, and they were juniors, and all of a sudden the teacher, Ian, you're wanted at the office, or no, they come over to the speaker, right? He said, geez, what? So anyway, he went down the office, and here's Jeff as he's coming down the hallway, standing there by the office. Oh my God, what do we do? And then the principal come over, you two both in the Waverley Junior Fire Department? Yeah. You're required in Waverley for a fire call. Okay, but nobody took them. They went out to Rocky Lake Drive from the school and hitchhiked.
I don't think that, and I've said it to the old guys like Graham and your dad and stuff, I don't think they realized the impact they had for young people.
Absolutely.
And keeping us out of shit and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it gave us something to do and
Something
something
positive.
through some pretty important years, right? That 14 to 18 year
Oh, yeah.
span, and I think everybody has done pretty well. Like working in the kitchen, those guys were fun. And you know what? They treated us like grown-ups.
Yeah.
They didn't talk to us like kids. They talked to us like at a fire, almost like colleagues at a fire scene or whatever. And so you didn't feel like a little kid around there.
not at all.
It was very
Not at all.
respectful.
Yeah, I mean, there was quite a few different groups after us, of course, and that's one in that picture, the probably second or third group. And then it went on, like I say, right up to about 95, we still had it going until then. Because Jeff Pickering's probably one of the last, I think he is. Mark Steele, Jeff Pickering, Kevin O'Halloran, that bunch were junior firefighters. And Jeff's still, he's the chief of Wellington now, so.
Yeah.
Did it stop because of the amalgamation? Is that when it stopped? Why did it stop?
No, it just stopped because there was a bit of lack of interest and a lack of somebody to run it and look after it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But-
And how did they recruit for it?
Well, actually, we were all in the fire department, and anyway, they had decided that they were going to get a dive team going, and because I think there was somebody that had died in Lake William, and anyway, after that, they decided to get a dive team going, and then at that time, the four of us were in the fire department.
There was Wayne had Turtle, as we used to call him, started the dive team, with,
Yep.
and the first ones was Kevin Hubbard, your brother Doug.
Miller, were there into it?
Pardon?
Yeah,
Aubrey
Aubrey
Miller?
Miller.
No.
Yeah, the first one, I've got the original picture.
Yeah,
right
Aubrey.
here.
Aubrey? What? I can't remember. Was Aubrey?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Anyways, doesn't matter. And then he started, then I joined later, and we got involved with a lot of dives, got called out a lot of dives.
Anyway, we had, once we became member or into the dive team, I guess we were probably, I think we were all year going for it. Actually, we learned how to dive in Ron Pickram's pool. And then we had to do some ocean dives and down in Terrence Bay. And then we had to do, the worst one of all was in front of Bob McDonald's. We had to cut a hole in the ice and take 100 feet of rope and go to the extent of the rope, hoping that somebody was going to hold on to the other end. And anyway, that was our last course, and then we all graduated.
I just wanted to explain when you're training, and especially the winter training, because there's pictures that he has of that in one of the binders, and under the ice. Did they prepare you for what it was like to be under the ice, or nothing, or just explain what the dive was? Nothing?
I remember going out to Terrence Bay, first time we ever dove deep, and I don't know how, it was probably 60, 70 feet of water. And I remember when I was down there, I noticed in my mask, it was all turning red, and I said, uh-oh, this is one of the final tests we had to go on. And I said, something wrong, so I was trying to just get rid of the blood. And what it was the weak vessels that were breaking. And when I got up the top, he had told me later, Wayne, that he said, I seen the blood. You know what? I was trying to get rid of it because I didn't know there was something wrong. But he said it was just the weak vessels that were breaking from the depth. But no, other than that, no. We just suited up, and I remember we had 100 feet of rope, and whoever's holding on the other end, not to let go.
You really had to trust your buddy.
Oh yes, but yeah, that was different. That's the only time I ever dove under the ice, and but that was right in front of Bob McDonald's. Yeah, and.
Did you decide to join?
Well, we really wanted to be part of it all. We were, our shift work allowed us to be able to come and go. Jan owned her own business.
Right.
She could come and go. Our buddy here,
Mike Miller?
Mike Herman.
Oh, that's Herman. Okay.
Yeah, he was in Bedford and moved to Waverley.
Oh, nice.
And then be with Charlie and Dave and Mike. They spearheaded, putting us on the force. We got our radio. It's the radio set that you put in your home.
Oh, the same
beeps.
scanner ones?
The scanners. Oh,
Yeah.
Anyway, I jumped out of bed a few times in the middle of the night, right? And they gave us all the stuff, and then when Mike came along, he said, "Listen, you girls should go into the next step is the firefighting course." So, Steve Comeau was my training. He took me on the trucks a few times, and he says, well, we were down in the training school, and when I turned the corner, he says, all those men on the back of your truck are gone. I was going too fast, right?
We had these ladies, and they were firefighters. I mean, we heard us talk about the juniors. Well, these were going to be front line. Somebody's going to be on my back, depend on them. So I knew they were firefighters, and quite proud of them. So we also have other things we do. We talked about ball tournaments, some recollection. We curled a lot, like Ian and I and Ron. We were maritime champions curling. So the women said, gee, that's a lot of fun. And it's more than curling, right? You socialize with hundreds of people, and sometimes party. So they put their applications in, and we said, well, put your name and your initial. So they did. They put the name and initial in. When we got down there, they found out they were women. Well, that was it. They weren't going to allow them to curl. There was no way those people were going out on the ice because they were, they're
Really?
firefighters. No, you guys just put them on there. They're women.
They're rangers.
Oh, they couldn't be both. And that was, I mean, they did eventually get the curl. But,
Really, the girls were, didn't really make a difference.
No.
They just took on the jobs that they could do.
yeah.
Same as me, I can't drag a 300-pound fire hose through a house.
I walked through the door in '81 to join that place, and there were women there as firefighters. To me, it was just, and it always has been since then. It was just that's what everybody does. Doesn't matter what your gender is. And I don't, other than maybe a short couple of years, there's always been women firefighters in Waverley.
When you had to wear all that gear because it weighed so much.
Well, they had trouble finding boots for me because I'm a size 5. They had to get kids' boots. But anyway, we worked it. But trying to jump into the boots and then, get into the trucks and everything. I found the hoses pretty heavy, but we still managed, But it was just a few times. Like that, I didn't get to a full blazing fire, but we went to a lot of chimney stuff,
Right, chimney fire.
Yeah.
How about when you had to get in some of those buildings and you couldn't see for the smoke and this sort of thing?
Yeah. Well, they told us what to do. You have to, different criteria that you have to make sure you're never alone, right?
Right.
Stuff like that. Yeah. But putting the masks on and the gear and trying to learn more, not just fighting the fire, but the history behind it, and the trying to understand what causes fires and all that stuff. But
so you can fight it better.
Yeah, yeah. Charlie's the one that knows everything there is to know, and he helped us anytime we had questions. But as far as the physical, it's hard to remember because it wasn't heavy.
Right.
We did what we had to do and answered all their questions. It's not a long course, but it was heavy. It was heavy for 3 days, and Mike says no sweat. He says I'll help you through anything you need. So
you had lots of support.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes.
That's good.
That was we didn't want to have a big issue, but when it came to the sports, that's when the trouble started. They didn't want to allow the women into the sports. And now, well, it paved the way. It opened up. Now there's women in firefighting. It's really great, at least for this county. I mean.